This takes 1 minute to consume, costs virtually nothing, but for the next 24 hours, it's going to increase your metabolism. It is going to help you build or maintain muscle. It's going to give you much more energy, and it's going to help you to burn more fat. Can you guess what I'm talking about? It costs virtually nothing. I'm talking about 11 cents per serve. That is like pennies a day to boost metabolism, boost muscle strength, and boost your energy levels. What a bargain. If you can guess what I'm talking about already, put your guesses in the comment section, and I'm going to give you a couple more clues. It decreases brain fog, and there's been a lot of studies lately on this particular substance to do with brain fog and menopause as well. We make this substance naturally. However, as we age, it declines, and so our body doesn't synthesize as much of it, which is probably why we're low on energy as we get older. Actually, from the age of 30 onwards, the synthesis in our body starts to decline. And one last clue, women produce 40% less of this substance in the human body than men do. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll give you one more clue. This substance is usually associated only with bodybuilders, but that is fast changing with all the research that has come out recently. Have you figured it out yet? Quick, put your last guesses in the comments. Whilst you put your last guesses into the comments, I'm going to quickly tell you about my free GLP-1 success checklist. You can use this if you're using a GLP-1 for weight loss, but you can also use it if you're not using a GLP-1 and you just want to lose a few pounds. It is completely free to download. I've put a QR code up here in case you're watching on the TV, so you can still go grab it. Otherwise, the links are in the description and the pinned comment for you if you want to go grab it. I also have a paid ebook bundle, which has menu plans. It's a much more comprehensive nutrition plan. It's got all of the nutrients that you need. So if you're trying to lose weight and you want to ensure that you're getting all the micronutrients that you need in order to stay healthy long term, you can grab that. Are you ready? We are talking about creatine. I'm going to tell you all about how creatine works. We're going to talk about how much you need, exactly what it's going to do for you, and there's a lot more to cover than what we just spoke about. I'm going to tell you the best type to take and how to get maximum absorption of creatine if you choose to get some. And we're going to talk about how it's going to help you to burn more fat, maintain your muscle mass, and support your metabolism whilst you're losing weight. Also, we're going to talk about safety and precautions because we need to cover that with every single supplement. If you're going to take any new supplements, please go and see your doctor, at least talk to your pharmacist, and especially if you are taking medications, this is really important because supplements do interact with medications. And of course, anything in this video or any of my other videos is not medical advice. This is purely for informational purposes only. All right, so what exactly does creatine do? How does it work? Creatine protects muscle, and in that way, it does boost your metabolism because the more muscle we have, that's the metabolic foundation, if you like. It gives your muscles the energy you need for exercise, and it will help you build muscle mass depending on how you're going to use it. If you want to build muscle mass, obviously you need to exercise in order to do that. It's not a magical supplement that's going to puff you up immediately. But if you're using it like that, it will absolutely speed up your metabolic rate. It's naturally produced in the human body from the amino acids glycine, arginine, and methionine. Methionine is downstream, but it's still involved. It's not an essential nutrient because our body can make it. So anything that our body can make naturally is classed as not essential. Approximately 1 to 2% of intracellular creatine is degraded each and every day just by us living our life. And you need about 1 to 3 grams of creatine per day in order to maintain the average storage. So 95% of the creatine that we have in our body and phosphocreatine, which is like the active form of creatine, is stored in our skeletal muscles, whilst the remainder is in our blood, our brain, the brain fog, and testes for men, and also other body tissues. So to put all of this in perspective, if you're trying to lose weight and you've reduced your food intake, it makes it much harder for your body to replenish its own creatine supplies, right? Because we need 1 to 3 grams a day. Women lose 3 to 5% of their muscle mass per decade starting in our 30s. And that accelerates massively with menopause. And if you're on a GLP-1, you can be losing even more muscle mass, or even if you're just losing weight, we tend to lose a little bit of muscle mass even if we lose weight without a GLP-1. So it's very important that we maintain our muscles so that we can maintain our metabolism, because that's what's going to keep the weight off long term. So you can also use creatine to treat brain fog, fatigue, and weakness. And we'll get into how it's going to stop you from feeling weak and fatigued in a few minutes. But first of all, we're going to talk about how much you need to take and what type you need to take. So as I said, 11 cents a day, crazy cost. I have actually partnered with a good quality company by the name of MICROGINA. I checked them out myself because I want my name to be associated with good quality products and companies, right? They have a really good creatine product. If you decide that you would like to try creatine, if you use my code, you'll get a 15% discount. I'll put the link in the description and the pinned comment for you. And yes, this is an affiliate link, so I will make a little bit of income if you choose to buy through MicroGINA. So you need to get creatine monohydrate and you want micronized. I'll actually put a QR code up here because I checked all the different products available and I picked the one that I would take. I already have some of my own, so I didn't buy this yet, but I will later. But anyway, this QR code will take you directly to the product that I picked, the one that I like the best, and you can check that out. And then if you want to check out the others, you can just sort of peruse around the site and see what else they've got. But for best absorption and for maximum use in the body, you want the micronized monohydrate. The dose that you need is anywhere between 3 and 5 grams. So remember, women are using 1 to 3 grams per day. So for a guy, you might be using a little bit more, but basically you would take about 3 to 5 grams per day. I would start at 3 grams if I were you, just to see how your body reacts. You know, like some people are very sensitive and they tend to get a bit nauseous, and then other people have no problem at all. So just start slowly and see how you feel. And then after a couple of weeks, you can increase or decrease. So what normally happens, the normal protocol is that somebody would start, they build up to 5 grams and then stay on that for a couple of weeks, and then they would decrease, because what you've done is you've built up your creatine levels in your muscles and other tissues. And so you don't need to continue to take 5 grams every day. When do you need to take this? Well, consistency matters more than timing. I would suggest that you take it earlier in the day, but you certainly don't have to. And the non-negotiable with creatine is you must be doing some form of exercise. Even walking and light weights will get you the best benefits. But if you want to build muscle, this will certainly help. All right, so what foods are in creatine? If you're looking to boost your creatine levels through your diet, you'll want to focus on animal proteins. Plants don't really contain creatine. So for vegetarians and vegans out there, you definitely need to look into getting a vegan creatine. So the body has to synthesize the creatine from the amino acids that we mentioned earlier. So if you're looking to boost your creatine levels through diet, I've got a bit of sad news. It only comes from animal products. Plants do not contribute at all, only in the way that if you're getting amino acids from plants, which also can be difficult if you're a vegan, but the amino acids then have to do all of the work to synthesize the creatine within your cells. But the good news is that you can get vegetarian or vegan creatine. So in terms of animal product foods and how much you need, when you're cooking them, they will actually degrade. So if you're having a steak, for example, and you're cooking the steak, it will degrade the creatine. So the problem with getting enough creatine from food is this: it's a bulk issue, right? So in order to get your 5 grams a day, you're going to have to eat 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds of raw beef. That's like before you've even cooked it. That's how much you'd need to eat. You could get it from salmon as well, but that is a lot of meat to try and take in order to get 5 grams of creatine. There are so many benefits to creatine. I have mentioned it before in my loose skin video. So if you're interested in avoiding loose skin, check out this video here, because that goes through how creatine can help you build new collagen to avoid loose skin. So you can watch that next. And guys, if you find this helpful, please take a second to subscribe and like the video, because I'm working really hard to try and deliver really valuable information and build up my little channel. I would so appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about how creatine works. So creatine helps to regenerate ATP. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you would know now that ATP is the energy molecule in our body. That's the energy currency, right? So what creatine does is it donates a phosphate to ATP. So ATP is adenosine triphosphate. So creatine phosphate is giving up its phosphate to make more energy. And this is exactly how it's going to help you to burn more energy during the day. It's giving you energy. It's like free energy. So when your body degrades creatine from use, which happens consistently, creatine becomes creatinine. And you would recognize that word from when your doctor does lab tests on you, or blood tests, because you would normally get the pathology results and then there's a little thing that measures creatinine. So creatinine is basically the end product of creatine. So here's a little tip for you. If you start taking creatine and then you go and have labs done for whatever reason, make sure that you tell your doctor that you've been taking creatine, because if they all of a sudden see creatinine levels are raised, they'll be worried that you've got kidney issues or something like that. So make sure you tell your doctor, because you don't want them to freak out thinking that they need to admit you to hospital. Because creatine is stored in the muscle, and that's primarily where it's going to work, you need to make sure that you're doing some form of resistance training. Walking and cardio is good because it'll give you the energy and you'll use up the creatine doing that. But you want to maintain your muscle, right? So, and maintaining your muscle and building your muscle builds a faster metabolism. So whilst you're doing this, do not get on the scale. Stay off the scale. And the reason for that is because when you have creatine, it draws a lot of water into the muscle. So if you are working really hard, you're doing your walks, you're doing your resistance training, eating really well, and you've stayed away from junk food, and you're doing all the things that you need to do in order to burn fat, and then you go and jump on the scale and you're heavier, it's just going to upset you. It's just going to mess with your mind. So I would advise you, sure, take the creatine after you've checked with your doctor, especially if you're on medications, and then stay off the scale and just work on doing what you need to do consistently, because it will attract water and it will weigh you down. All right, let's talk about the brain benefits and what a game changer this is. So research shows creatine improves memory and attention, especially as we age in times of stress. Women may have up to 80% lower creatine levels stored in their body than men do. And that's purely because men have more muscle mass, right? But also our hormonal changes do influence that as well. So this is one of the reasons why men can burn so much more fat so quickly compared to a woman. We store fat in different places anyway, and our hormones have a lot to do with it. But men have more testosterone and they naturally have more muscle mass. And so therefore they're burning fat much more quickly, because that muscle mass is their metabolism. They literally have a faster metabolism. I know it's not fair. So studies show that creatine can reduce mental fatigue and improve cognitive performance and sleep deprivation. So for mums who are working and running around after kids, and you got the housework and you got everything going on, first of all, watch my NAD video, because I think that will really help you. And maybe consider taking some creatine to boost your energy levels as well. I personally think NAD and creatine work really, really well together. As estrogen levels drop during perimenopause and then menopause, creatine production decreases, affecting brain energy metabolism. So that's why we need creatine in our brain, because our brain actually burns a lot of energy every day. We have come to safety and warnings. So here it is. Please check with your doctor before you take anything. Even if it seems relatively safe, at least talk to a pharmacist, a nurse practitioner, somebody that understands medications and supplements, because they do interact. All right, if you have kidney issues, you probably should not be taking creatine. The FDA classifies creatine as generally recognized as safe, but it doesn't mean that you can just go and take it without checking for your situation, and especially if you're on medications. Creatine monohydrate is relatively well tolerated. Will this work with a GLP-1? Yes, it absolutely will, and it's probably one of the best things that you can do with the GLP-1s because it will help to maintain your muscle mass, especially if you're doing some exercise, and it will give you energy when, our food is so decreased on a GLP-1. And so it will help with energy production, but it will also help to maintain the lean mass that you absolutely do not want to lose while you're losing weight. You might see slight water increase, so please do keep that in mind. Stay off the scale. Focus more on consistency than the scale. Maybe in a month, get on the scale and you'll be fine. All right, I will see you in this video here, which you will get a lot more information about weight loss and having a nice, healthy metabolic rate. I'll see you in there.
Smarternuthub.